Hello, everyone. Welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I'm melting in a pool of myself. It's very hot here, in the box that I call home. I am joined by Johnny Cool Breeze Maloney and Austin. It's always hot. Yorsky.
Weirdly enough, they don't call me Cool Breeze because I'm like a cool breeze. They call me Cool Breeze because that's like the only thing that gets rid of me.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm like those guys in the movie Twister.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I thought it was some kind of like Romani curse. Like
No.
only a cool breeze could banish you.
No, nothing quite like that. It's just like I'm like the guys in that movie Twister, except of it being like an absolute like balls to the wall, knuckle whitening, teeth chattering, like nail biting, hair pulling extravaganza of excitement. I just kind of go, "Oh, a cool wind," and like wander off. It's I'm really easily distracted by very mild weather changes. So
I don't know what Leon's doing in the background, but it's good radio.
presumably beginning the 9-stage process of shutting off his air conditioning.
No, I also closed my windows because there's like, the sounds of other human beings,
I feel like you know what would really improve the quality of your life, Leon, if you had a lot of like levers and buttons and knobs to just like turn and push and pull throughout your day. Because it just feels good, just like tactilely speaking.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I'm curious, Leon, when you talk about the sounds of humanity outside your window, is that like, are you talking about traffic? Or is hanging around outside like really big in your neighborhood? Do people?
No.
No.
People aren't shouting or anything. I just mean that other people exist in the world, and sometimes they click things, and also there are bugs and they make noise.
Yeah.
And just the sounds of outside were apparently a sound that my microphone was picking up. So I closed my windows and I turned off my fan. So I'm just very squishy and gross right now. I'm slick.
That's okay.
Something.
I was just curious because it's like outside. It's like outside is not a thing around where I live. Like people don't hang out on stoops,
Okay.
or in alcoves, or outside of anterooms, if you will.
Okay.
Or the like, but many years ago I had an opportunity to go visit some friends who lived in the Dallas area of Texas, and like the evening porch thing was like that's it. They do that.
Do you think Stoop Kid has left his stoop yet?
Probably.
What?
Okay, 90s kids will love that one. I have stuff to talk about this week. Do you guys want to do a show together?
I guess.
I was trying to start there with some like folksy kind of like urban America, NPR. Peter Zowski for the Canadian listeners there, all two of you. Hi guys. Just some real vinyl cafe stories for you.
All of that was gibberish. Are you okay, Leon? Do you just want to chill on this one?
No, I mean I'm allegedly the star of this show. So
the alleged star.
I feel like this is going to be like one of those Doctor Who episodes where he's only in it for like a second, and then it's really about the other people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, those are the worst episodes. I hate episodes about me.
Oh, I thought you meant you hate episodes of Doctor Who where he's not the focus.
Yeah, I believe that is a thing. I believe it is done for scheduling and budgeting reasons.
Also, just because he can't have that much character development, right? There's only so many different bow ties he can put on. So,
Austin, that was the last Doctor. Get with the times.
I'm aware. I just couldn't think of a defining feature of Peter Capaldi off the top of my head, besides grumpy.
The new one has wrinkles.
Yeah,
that is his thing.
This week he gets a new one.
I guess wrinkle arrangement.
Do cool geometric shapes.
Presumably every episode he rearranges those wrinkles and people go, ooh, that's an angry wrinkle.
Yeah. So I'm just going to start the show now and we'll see where it takes us because I have a bunch of law stuff this week.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I've started my summer classes, and they're pretty interesting, and I think some of these you guys could get into. So
Cool. I'm gonna take off all of my clothes.
Okay, are you having like paradoxical undressing right now? Is that what's happening?
Look, everything is bad, and I was in the car all day for reasons, and I mean my air conditioning in the car is very good because I don't have to.
But what color is your car? What color is it?
Jesus.
It's red.
Yeah, but like a dull red, not like a cherry red, right?
God.
No, it's almost maroon, but not.
Yeah, so that kind of heat attracting red, that like really
Sure.
low on the IR scale kind of red. Ugh.
I'm gonna ignore both of you right now while I undress.
Okay, that's
What do you
an
think-
incredibly
what do you think-
erotic image.
Austin, what do you think Leon smells like right now? Because
Brownies.
normally I have this like image that Leon smells kind of like a mixture of baby powder and hotel soap.
Okay, I don't know if that's incredibly flattering.
No, I mean like in a pleasant way. It's just that hotel soap has like a very particular kind of like soapy smell. Like it's not like the soap that you find at people's homes. You use it and you're like, God, that smells like, I don't know, franchise, right?
It's like very strongly like evocative of cleaning supplies. They don't
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
like specific scents because people can be allergic to them.
But that's why I soften it off with the baby powder. That's why I'm like hotel soap and baby powder. I'm like, I get the feeling that he smells like he's very clean, but in a friendly way.
I don't know. I'm an Irish Spring household, so.
Oh, okay.
Ditto.
Okay.
But it's cool that we have the same soap.
Yeah, we have a lot in common. Are you guys ready
We're
for the?
soap bros. Yeah, I'm ready for whatever it is you're gonna do now.
all right, let's-
Because
Okay.
all I can think about is sweat. So let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, clearly there's a lot going on Leon's end, but maybe we'll circle back around to it. So here's the story that underpins this law corner. Back in ye olden times, there
How old?
was. It doesn't. It.
Okay, then for the sake of argument, I'm going to say 378
How ye?
AD.
Okay.
CE, because I prefer to be non-denominational. Current era.
This is like the shortest amount of time it's ever been since I was interrupted. I think it was 1890s.
Oh, that's not that old.
It's old to me. There was a musical called La Boheme.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
about
I
100
think
years later...
I think you mean
nope,
opera.
Nope. It was music. Shush. 100 years later, there was a book written called, I think, People in Danger or People in Trouble. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. And then a little bit after that book came out, there was a man who decided to take those two things and staple them together without crediting the book, which was not in the public domain.
And if I recall correctly, it was called Rent.
Okay, so you're familiar with the story.
Yeah. I actually know what's going on right now. So it's pretty good for me.
So this guy...
And on a scale of 1 to the worst thing you've ever heard, Leon, how does Rent rank for you?
The second one.
Okay. So this guy's name is Larson. It doesn't matter. But so
Gary Larson?
No.
Okay, good.
Oh, it was almost good. What about the cows?
He created Rent, and by all accounts of the time, this version, which was a combination of a book he stole and an opera, which was apparently good, this version showed promise, but was pretty underdeveloped. So he hired somebody to help fix it. This person, apparently their job title, according to the court papers, was a dramaturgist or dramaturgy. It's a fancy word for theater
Script doctor.
major. Yeah. Also, yeah, basically that. So he hired her, and apparently she did about like 40% is the number that's in there of like punching up on it. Like 40% of the content she touched. Apparently this version was much better. And then on the
How long do you think that that took them to do?
Apparently took the summer. So, what's that? What was that giggle?
Leon, do you have any idea how long that might have taken?
Shut up, Johnny.
Oh, the song. Okay, the song. I get it. I thought you were just asking questions. Good.
No, that was
Also, I'm curious about something. I hate the idea that there's actually a much worse version of Rent out there.
I know. Listen, we're gonna get there.
maybe it's better though. I mean, it's probably not. But
No. I mean,
I bet on worse.
Okay, so anyways, some 500 and blah blah blah, so many
Yeah.
days of work in changing. 40% goes to this dramaturgist.
Yeah. And then on the night of the last dress rehearsal, Larson died. He died. He is dead.
Okay.
Oh, like how?
He had some kind of genetic condition which messed with his heart or something.
Oh, poor guy.
That's a shame, but I still don't feel bad about bashing Rent.
I mean, Rent is bad, but the point is, while he did see it during its off-Broadway productions in which everyone said, this could be better, he never actually lived to see it gain huge, massive success. But you know who did?
The Scribners?
Oh, yeah. And she was only being paid, like, I think $2,000 for, like, consultation, which even in, like, 90s money is not great. Especially because Rent went on to be like a huge smash success.
Mm-hmm.
So she sued his estate for 16% of Rent.
I thought, okay, yeah.
How do you think that turned out? That's the case. This is the lawsuit against the Larson estate for ownership of a part of Rent. And I know 40% was the work she did. She only sued for 16 for like boring reasons. You don't need to worry about it.
Bless her heart then, because
So this is the case of the Rent percent.
Yeah. It's because it was like the amount, it was like the 40% minus things she like didn't like, cuz it's the rights for like the music and the acting and there's like a bunch of different stuff. It doesn't matter.
all right, okay. So, was there a contractual agreement between Larson and Script Wizard?
Script Wizard for the consultation for the dramaturgy. Yes,
right.
She was contracted to get I think it was like several $1,000s.
Okay, all right. And did she get that money?
Yes.
All right, then no. She walked away with, I'm going to say, bupkis.
Yeah. I mean, like, I get her point of view, and I could be, like, definitely wrong, but it just seems like I mean, she signed a shitty deal. Let's face it. She signed a shitty deal. I don't.
That doesn't mean that after the fact you get to renegotiate the terms of your deal.
That's true. I mean,
you don't get to say, I did all this work that was in my contract and got paid, but I think I should be paid more.
Yeah. I mean, the weird thing is, she can't renegotiate, and that's sort of like the weird situation that she's in, though. So it's not like I don't.
Here's one extra fact I'll throw in there. When she contacted Larson's estate after Rent became a huge smash success, she asked for more money, and the estate offered her 1% of all the profits, and she said no.
Okay, well then she definitely didn't get it. Because if they offered her money and she wasn't going to take it, they'd be like, she didn't want it.
Or it could be seen as a sign of acknowledging her rights to more than she got.
Yeah. Yeah, they may have reopened like the wound here in a way. Like they rang the bell and now they can't unring it. I don't know. I would like to think that she got paid a little bit more, but it just doesn't seem like legally she should, and that makes me feel shitty saying it.
It's a shitty deal, but I don't think.
Yeah.
So
I don't think so.
So we got two no's.
Yeah, like for example, I'm
unless you've got like a twist. Is there a twist here?
No.
There's like
was
there's
Bruce
like
Willis dead the whole time?
I feel like she shouldn't. That's it. I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like you can't walk into the lawyer's office and be like, and I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and it just so happens that the other guy who can corroborate this story is in fact dead, so you have to listen to me.
Yeah. So the way this case turns out is that you're both correct. She goes home with just her small upfront fee. Some of the deciding factors in the case are that I guess during the trial she could not quote any of the stuff she wrote, which was a bad look. And also like every copy of like the program said Rent by Larson, and then like
Gary Larson.
Yeah, by Gary Larson. And then there was like a credit in the back, which was like dramaturgist, and then her name, which I believe is Thompson.
Script druid.
Yeah, I do like that a lot. So she didn't like receive any of the kind of credit which would convey co-authorship upon her. And also there's like parole evidence that like during the creation of Rent, and people kept saying to Larson, hey, this is actually kind of bad, you should fix it. And he was like, no, I want to do it myself.
Yeah.
And there's like a bunch of people who testified to him being like that, saying that he didn't want anyone else to share credit. He actually had a partner at one point who he jettisoned.
But everybody, listen. This script technomancer got paid tons in exposure. So
yeah, because you've heard of her, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell me your name?
Gary Larson's friend.
Get close enough. Although, to be fair, we can't actually remember Jonathan Larson's name, so...
I don't think I ever knew Jonathan Larson. Rent, even when Rent was popular, a friend of mine made me a mixtape when Rent was popular, and there was a Rent song on it, and I actually took the time to walk across the room, stop the tape, and throw the tape across the room before going to pick it back up, fast forward through the song, and continue to listen to the mixtape.
Nice. And I also looked it up, and the novel that he took a bunch of stuff from was Sarah Schulman's People in Trouble. And she actually wrote a book after that. She didn't sue, although she probably could have, and then she wrote a different book about how he lifted stuff from it.
Right.
So that's that. I have another case here. It's similarly entertainment-based, which I think one of you may enjoy more than the other. And this is the landmark case of some flute guy versus the Beastie Boys.
Some flute guy versus the Beastie Boys.
I don't remember his name. I think the case is Diamond.
Gary Larson's other friend?
Yeah, Gary Larson Diamond. I don't remember. He's a flute musician. Anyway, so backstory.
A flautist, I believe.
Flautist. Mm-hmm. You have to say the really dumb word for flute musician whenever you say it.
Yeah, because it couldn't just be fluter.
Right, or flutist, but no, someone said, let's make it awkward.
The flutiturgist.
Yeah.
So the backstory of this is Beastie Boys were kind of considered like, what's the word? It's not one hit wonder, but like kind of like a flash in the pan when Licensed to Ill like came out and was like big. And then their next album, Paul's Boutique, was a more esoteric album, which was like 95% samples, and they were actually sued over that album. I think that litigation has literally lasted up until I think like 2014, and that album came out in like the 90s, like the early 90s. Anyway, the Beastie Boys used a lot of music they probably shouldn't have and got sued a lot, is what I'm getting at. And the case in particular we're talking about is their third album, which was called Check Your Head, and the song Pass the Mic, which they used a 3-second sample, I believe, of a flute player. They went to the flute player's record label and they paid for the recording rights for that flute song. But they did not pay the flautist for the arrangement, like the sheet music, essentially.
Right.
So they paid for the sound the flute makes, but they didn't pay for the song that was being played, that is sampled in Pass the Mic, which I've listened to both versions, and they mangled it beyond comprehension. Like you wouldn't know the two. It's not like a Vanilla
Now, when you
Ice
say
situation.
you've listened to both versions, you mean you've listened to both the song that the sample comes from and the song which the sample was used on?
Yeah, I've listened to Pass the Mic and the flute song.
Okay.
And I couldn't hear it.
What is the flute song called?
I could look it up. I did not retain that because I had never heard of this man, the flute man.
It's okay.
Okay, so the song is called Choir by James Newton. Is the name of the flute
I was hoping
boy.
it was going to be a worse title.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
cradling your love on the wings of angels or some shit like that.
I'm on James Newton's Wikipedia page now, and it says James W. Newton is an American jazz and classical flautist. So we nailed
I'm
that
glad
one.
he diversified.
Yeah. So anyway, they used a bit of his flute stuff on the song
Right.
Pass the Mic. And he sued because he did not get a cut of that. His record label did because they owned the recording of Choir. So how do you guys think that lawsuit came out. That's all the facts, basically.
I feel like it's a little different because he didn't pay for the arrangement, and I know of a case that's it's not the same, but it makes me think of it. Jonathan Colton did a cover of "Baby Got Back" quite a long time ago, and a television show used a version that was very similar to his, and he sued them. And people were like, "Well, why would you do that? It's a cover. You didn't write that song." And he said, "Well, actually, they used my arrangement."
Yeah, so a cover is actually an entirely different thing from sampling, and they have their own separate rules. Right. But I do want to clarify, it was a 3-note piece they took, and it was 6 seconds long. So I don't know if that matters in your calculus, but 6 seconds is the length of the flute thing they got, and it was 3 notes.
I don't know. I feel like that's a negligible amount in terms of note arrangement, because if you want to argue solely arrangement, right, not the recording specifically, if you want to argue solely on arrangement, there are plenty of 3 notes in like certain orders that I'm sure belong to a lot of songs, but. People don't go around being like, wait a minute, he just did G, C, and D in that order. I wrote that.
I mean, you could say that, but clearly they did use his arrangement. It wasn't like a coincidence. I mean,
yeah, but they paid for the recording though.
Yeah, but they completely cut him out of the deal by doing that, and it might be something separate. I mean, you can say, yeah, it's only 3 notes, but so's 3 blind mice, and everyone knows that thing.
Which is why it's also a standard and public domain.
I know it's in the public domain, but what I'm trying to say is like something that sounds very simple can be very memorable. Like people know like the flautist song from The Legend of Zelda, because even though it lasts 3 seconds, but if you hear it, you're like, oh, there it is. I know exactly what that is, flautist.
See, all I'm suggesting here, Leon, is in terms of like who is considered to have like who owns that 6 seconds of flute, who owns that, right? And that's totally the record label. The record label totally owns that. And to argue that like a microscopic portion of your arrangement, which is presumably a whole song, constitutes you being able to copyright like that short an amount of song and not just be like, that is obviously my song. I think that the record label would get away with getting paid and the creator would get shafted, because the record label paid him to have a recording of his music, and then when the Beastie Boys presumably approach the record label and say, hey, we'd like to use your recording, and they say, oh yeah, sure, absolutely, we'll take cash, check, or credit, please. Then that's I think that, as far as I am concerned, legal.
I feel like he should have got some more. I mean, we can argue that, yeah, it was barely anything. That's true, but like, if I go into a convenience store and barely steal anything, I still did. Like, if I take a Reese's peanut butter cup that costs 5 cents, they're just there, and I bet I could get away with it, but I don't, because I think that would be wrong. And I mean, it's
yeah, but this is Leon. This is the equivalent of you going in and paying for a Reese's piece, if you will, a single one, paying the store for it, and then getting a letter in the mail the next day from Reese saying, "Hey, where's my cash, bitch?"
No, yeah, it's "Where's my piece?"
Yeah, where's my piece? Thank you, Austin.
There you go. I don't think either of our analogies are exactly one-to-one. In this situation, I would like to think that he got something from it, because when you make a recording for someone, yes, they own the recording if that's in there, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. How do I put this? Like, they own the recording. They don't entirely own his idea. Like if he left that label, for example, like if that musician left that label, it's not like the previous studio could say, you can never play this song again on stage. because we own the recording. It's like, I'm not playing the song, the recording of the song. I'm playing me playing it, and I invented the song.
Yeah,
so I feel like he should get...
But that's different. Like, the recording is a thing, and the piece of music is a thing, are two different things.
That's true, but I feel like they paid for the recording, but I feel like he should still get a piece of that. And I would like to know how wrong I am now.
How naive is Leon, where creators actually get paid for things that they write, Austin?
So the court decided that the flute music was what is called in legal parlance de minimis, which is fancy for too small to matter. And he did not get any money.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
So what's funny is there's a lot of talk going in there, and I was like trying not to jump in because there's a couple of things I think there's misapprehensions about, and I want to get to all of them as fast as possible. One, cover songs. I don't know. I'm not even sure I knew this until literally taking this class, but you cannot be denied permission to cover a song. Mm-hmm. You're allowed to cover any song you want to, and you either negotiate that through the person who owns the rights, or there's like a standard fee you can pay, but you cannot be denied permission to. You are allowed to cover anything you want. So that's a thing. Also, that you can be denied if you leave a record label and they own your old songs. They actually can deny you from playing them. That's what happened to Creedence Clearwater Revival when Fogerty left. Is the record label was a total dick to him, and he like lost the right to play a bunch of his old stuff. So that's a thing as well. Music's weird because
it depends on what deal you sign with your record label. Obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to see. Well, I mean, I can't get the contract in front of me of what the flautist did, so I can't say. But I was hoping that there was something in there that was not shitty for the flautist. Because flautists have it pretty rough. I mean, there's only so much that,
Hey,
there's only so many flout opportunities.
Dude is doing well for himself. All right, he's rocking the flute. He's making his CDs. He's not like standing on a corner of some shopping mall in America or something like that, just being like, no, check this riff out. Dude's got his own Wikipedia entry. Even I don't have that. So
I think we talked about this when I was talking contracts, but like if it's in the contract, then there's no reason to study it in law school. The kind of cases we read are ones in which there's a blank space that needs to be filled in with a default. So like it's like what happens when they haven't negotiated it. If they have, then it's whatever. Usually, unless it's unreasonable or there's like a gun involved, usually they enforce whatever's in the contract.
Yeah.
So then the Beastie Boys went on to make the album with Sabotage on it, and were super popular again, and that's that. They had a good run.
They were intergalactic, is what they were.
I think that's from Hello Nasty.
Yeah, that's a later one.
Yeah, I did some, I don't know, there wasn't cases really to talk about in ethics class because we mostly just talk about like the rules and such, but there's some really upsetting conversations that happened in that class.
I imagine that an ethics class is probably just a bunch of people getting together and being like, shit's fucked up, isn't it?
No, that would be fine. It's more like the thing we talked about today. It was like, what would you do if you were representing a company who was engaged in like massive fraud, right? So like the details aren't important, but like your clients are like falsifying documents to get huge bank loans, and everyone was like poring over the rules, trying to find whatever excuse they could to not have to get in any trouble and to not have to report anything and to like cover it up basically. And I was just sitting there just like,
so everybody wanted that sweet fake money.
It was just upsetting the lengths people will go to not have to do the right thing. And it's like the exact opposite from when I don't remember if I talked about this in the podcast, but there was another case where it was like, so this immigrant what comes to America wants to be a lawyer, and someone tells her that people in America, they punch up their resumes. So, it's fine if you just fudge it a little. And everyone in class was like, no, not deny her application, prevent her from ever getting into the bar, and basically socially they were just like it was like a hanging judge. Everyone was just like, no mercy, fuck that bitch. Wow. And then it's like, so someone stole $250 million from the bank, and they're like, well, let's not rush to judgment. I don't know. I know I'm a little esoteric sometimes with my weird soapbox stuff, but Jesus Creasus, like the lengths people will go to.
I don't really. I thought this was going in like a different direction, where like the class was going to be like in a moral quandary about wanting to get out of their contract, but it says like they can't, so they have to like defend this person by law. But no, it went the opposite way, where everyone is trying very hard to be a jerk when they don't have to.
Yeah, they don't want to have to, because here's the things they were worried about. They were worried about their reputation if it got out that they were the kind of people who would snitch on their clients. They were worried that the clients would like implicate them, even though there was like no evidence of that. They were worried about, if I snitch on the clients, then they'll go out of business and all the employees of the clients will lose their jobs. And it's like, some of that I get, but it's also like it's the bad people's fault. Don't let the bad people get away with it because they've set up like a fucking trap to take people down with them. That's how people get away with shit.
But on the same note, Leon, wouldn't you also agree, fuck the man?
Sure.
And
also, I mean,
can we also agree that the man of men, pardon me for being so gender exclusive here, but are banks? So if a company I'm working for is like, fuck the banks, and I'm like,
okay, this took a turn.
Again, this may be just how I want to perceive the world. But if I were the kind of person who could hire like a high priced lawyer, I would want the one with great ethical reputation. Where they're like, they have like a conscience. They're not gonna fuck me over so long as I'm not an asshole. I feel like,
that's the way I thought. Like, it would give your reputation a boost because everyone would know you're honest. But like, no, apparently it's a liability to not be able to trust.
Don't you guys know that all lawyers have a great reputation? Because the ones that have the most flexible consciences can pay for one.
You know what's great about learning the rules of ethics that govern this profession is that it becomes very quickly apparent who wrote the rules. It's us. We did it. So they're really easy to get around. And there's yikes. The only other thing I specifically wanted to talk about was more in line with what Leon, I guess, was expecting, which was like, so the case was, and these are all the ethics cases are based on real things that happened. So this one was like a guy who was representing someone who was accused of being a serial killer. And then the serial killer guy was like, hey, I can tell you where more bodies are. And the lawyer went and checked, and there were bodies there. So, but lawyer-client privilege prevented him from tattling. So he went to trial and just left the bodies there. And then his client was convicted and sent to prison where he belonged. And then I guess at that point the lawyer was like, well, I guess now I'm free to tattle. And he did. And he was charged with, I believe, obstruction of justice, but I don't know if that's true. It might be some kind of, I think it might have been like some kind of health code thing he violated that you have to tell someone if you find a body. I don't know if it was both, but
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
As terms employee-client privilege, like, how do I put this? And I again, this is going to make me sound kind of naive, but because I have not taken these classes and I've never needed a lawyer for anything.
Yet.
But yeah, I know. I live a very boring life, apparently. But no, seriously. Like when it says, "Oh, it's employee-client privilege," it's like, oh, is there law? Does the law back you up on that, or is that more like professional ethics? Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Because, like, for example, like I know that psychiatrists have like client patient privilege, but if that patient is in a danger to themselves or others, or has admitted to a crime, that apparently is not. That kind of goes out the window.
Okay, so there are a number.
I don't know if it's the same thing.
There are a number of legally recognized categories of privilege. So there's like spousal privilege, doctor-patient, lawyer-client, and there's a couple other ones. And so those are legal. They're not just like a thing that people say. But then there also are exceptions. But here's the crazy bit: is that they vary by jurisdiction. So in one state, you may have to tell if you're client is going to commit a crime. In one, you may tell, but you don't have to. And someone's like, you can if it's in the future or current, but not for past ones. And then other states, it's like any future, past, present, but only if they're using your services to commit crimes. Like there's I know this is like an unsatisfying answer, but it depends, right?
Okay, so it is as confusing as I think it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I
was under the impression that the attorney-client privilege specifically was about the right not to incriminate yourself.
Yeah, you have a Fifth Amendment right to not self-incriminate, and your lawyer is your agent, so they cannot incriminate you. In fact, they can't do anything that could be detrimental to your case, which is kind of what this serial killer thing.
Even win your case, lawyers can't even do that.
They can't. Okay, so there's there's a lot going on here, and we'll have to get like into the boring bits to like explain everything.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I know. So like, what's your gut check on the serial killer hypothetical, which is real and actually happened, so it's not really a hypothetical?
He probably should not have gone to go check.
Probably not. I mean,
like, you know, if I'm representing someone or professionally associated with someone who's like, hey, do you want to see a bunch of dead bodies? I'd be like, no. Like, knowing in full knowledge that going to check would, what's the word I'm looking for? Influence?
I mean, you could...
my very presence there?
There's also, like, willful ignorance laws in certain states where you can't on purpose choose not to know something that would like be part of a crime.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna give you guns. Don't do an armed robbery. Wink, wink. I don't know anything about. Like, I don't know. That depends on the state.
But I mean, you know, presumably you should like definitely make note of that, and then like when it's over, be like, okay, so look, there was this thing that happened last week. He's like, hey, do you want to see a dead body? I was like, no, I've already got one at home. I'm okay. He's like, well, if you ever get bored of that one, I hit a couple over here. Maybe you guys should go check.
It's a good opportunity for Stand By Me cosplay.
Yeah, exactly. You know, get your Corey Feldman glasses out.
Couldn't you, this doesn't solve the problem, but if the lawyer says, okay, guy accused of being a serial killer, I will represent you because you might be innocent. And then the guy says, oh, I killed so many people, and here they are on a treasure map. Couldn't the lawyer just say, oh, I don't want to be your lawyer anymore?
Oh, he was a public defender. You're assigned. You don't get to choose your cases.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah, that is exactly the kind of work that Austin wants to do. Good luck to you, buddy.
I was just thinking of that. Oh.
I actually learned while playing Persona 5 that Japan doesn't have public defenders. And like a lot of the plot of that game revolves around the fact that like the police can just fucking do whatever. And that's really upsetting.
Not like in America.
No, but they don't have guns in Japan, and anyway. Sorry, off topic.
Okay,
yeah, so he can't get rid of the serial killer guy, unfortunately.
So yeah, you make a note of it, you write it down, and be like, listen, you might want to check out his summer home. I hear he vacations there, like Weekend at Bernie's style. Wink, wink.
Yeah, subtle.
If you know what I mean. You know, after the whole thing's over.
I keep trying to think like what I would do in this particular situation, and I keep coming back to quit my job and become a YouTube celebrity.
Probably ultimately the better choice, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? Does he get convicted, the lawyer?
What state are they in, and what's your state? Because you kind of gave me part of the answer.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I don't actually remember the state off the top of my head.
Damn.
But it's, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. After this case, I think they actually they updated one of the laws involved to make sure. I
kind of get the impression that if it was like a decorative penalty, you know what I mean?
Like a slap on the wrist.
If it's like, ooh, you're suspended for 2 months, buddy, then yeah, like totally, you know. But if it was like felony shit, like jail time, probably not.
I was going to say that he got away with it, and that's why they wanted to change the law.
So, final answers then? You ready for it?
Yeah. Yeah.
He got away with it, and that's why they changed the law.
Boom!
As Leon said. Yeah, so he could not tell anybody without breaking the rules, which are to not adversely affect your client's case. And he wasn't committing any further crimes, and he wasn't using the lawyer's services to commit crimes, nor had he. So he didn't have to divulge this past crime, although it basically ruined his reputation. Like, everyone knew, like, oh, you're the ones who left those people's bodies out there, which is fucked up. And they changed the laws a little bit so that in that case, yeah, he could have. And I guess in the future in that jurisdiction, you can report if you find a dead body in conjunction with your case for public health reasons. You just can't have dead bodies decaying.
You can't just, dead bodies lying everywhere.
Yeah. So
in the reservoir, by the garbage.
Yeah.
In the septic tank.
Oh, God. There's a lot of bodies.
In the forest behind my mother's house.
Last thing before we get off of law, I took up a lot of this show.
It's okay.
It's a weird quirk of copyright law that I only learned about now is that while writings and like maps are protected, and then they added photographs and they've added a bunch of other stuff over the years, music does not really have like robust federal protection. There's like a weird quirk of the 1976 Copyright Act, and I just realized that doing some of these cases about music, like the music industry is a mess, and I think that's widely known, but it's maybe not known exactly why. And also, one of the most important legislative acts in copyright history is the Sonny Bono Act. So now you have to live with that knowledge. If anybody's old, our audience old enough to remember Sonny Bono?
Probably not.
Okay, that's just it's a weird thing.
I'm barely old enough to remember Sonny Bono. I remember him more as an officiant of the government than as an actual celebrity.
Okay, he used to be like a guy. He was with Cher, and they did like music stuff. But then he became a legislator, and Disney called him, Walt Disney, and was like, "Hey, I want Mickey Mouse to be mine forever." And Sonny Bono said, "Right, I'll get right on that." And that's why we are here today. I was actually worried that my understanding of Disney as a driving force in the copyright quagmire we're currently in would be shattered by law school. But no, that's 100% what happened.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe that was an exaggeration or like a kind of a campfire thing that nerds tell themselves. But it's 100% Disney's fault.
Yeah, it was nicknamed the Mickey Mouse bill or law or something like that.
Yeah. So I'll shut up for a while. I have more, but if somebody else wants to talk for a while, I can be quiet. I'll try.
I hate a song. You want to hear how much I hate it?
How much do you hate it, and then what song?
Okay. A lot, and it's called Middle Fingers. I have like, a car with a working radio now. So instead of just, occasionally listening to music when Johnny recommends it to me, I sometimes just listen to music on the radio. And I'm looking at the lyrics right now.
I just turned it on YouTube, so I'm just going to listen to this.
Okay, you do that.
No, but keep talking.
Okay. I can't tell if he's being ironic. Like, does he? How do I put this? Basically, the song goes that like he looks at like some things that he doesn't like, and he like gives them the middle finger, and it's really silly. And I'm trying to figure out if he's self-aware enough to be like, yeah, all this stuff is happening around me, but I'm just, a piece of shit throwing my middle fingers in the air. Or if he thinks like, I'm better than these guys. Look at my middle fingers. Like I just learned how to cuss with my hands like I'm in middle school. And it's hard to tell. And I wish I could figure it out. I'm getting the feeling it's the bad interpretation that is true, and not the one where I think he's like introspective about his sort of misanthropic attitude.
So he's a skeleton meme, is what you're saying.
Kind of. I'm wondering if he's a skeleton meme or if he just had his woke moment where he just came to Jesus and he was like, "Oh God, I'm like, there's this stuff and people, and now all I'm doing is just throwing my middle fingers in the air. Maybe I should actually do something with my life."
That's
but
not
no,
a very good song.
It's not. It's also very droning, and the chorus is the same style as the verses. Like, it doesn't change. It just kind of keeps going. So it's
he sounds very bored for a man who wants to throw middle fingers in the air.
That's why I was at first wondering, like, oh, maybe he's sad about the fact that he's throwing middle fingers in the air, and that's what the song is about. But the more I look at the lyrics, I more like feel like I think he thinks he's better than other people, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna throw my middle fingers in the air because you like songs that I don't like and that other people tend to share. It's like, okay, I mean, cool. I mean, I'm angry at the man too, but I just feel like this. I don't know.
Is this what has become of punk rock?
Yeah, there's that, and I just find it a little childish, I guess. And I listened to the radio station, and I'm like, is this supposed to appeal to me? And then I turned it off. And later today, I listened to Material Girl by Madonna, and that is a good song.
All right, we're a music corner now. So
don't get me wrong, Material Girl is no Girls Just Want to Have Fun, but it'll do.
I also listened to that song today. I literally did, and it was also a good song.
Leon just has a girl song playlist, and it's just like Spice Girls, and I'm running out of girls. Any more girls.
Today I did Shake It to the Left. Yeah.
This reminds me of a conversation I had with Living Meme Clam, in which I was explaining to him my favorite discography. Because I like when artists have like a theme to their work, like Mastodon, all their albums represent an element. Specifically what I was telling him about was the rapper Rich Homie Quan. Are you guys familiar?
I gotta say, that guy has passed me by.
Okay. His albums, and I'm just going to read them to you in a list. His albums are I Go In on Every Song, Still Going In, Still Going In, Reloaded, I Promise I Will Never Stop Going In. If you ever think I will stop going in, just ask Royal Rich. Those are his albums so far.
That's pretty laser-like focus.
He's such an inspiration. Because every time I think, should I go in? I'm like, well, what would Rich Homie Quan do? I think he would go in. So.
I feel like when I listen to those album titles, I feel like he is self-aware enough to realize that this is the joke, as opposed to the figure in my song. So I kind of like this guy already by default, even though I have never listened to any of his music.
And then, so once I communicated that, Cam came back at me with his favorite, which is there's a rapper called Viper, who to date has... no, hold on. Holy shit. No.
What?
I thought I knew the extent of this, but now I'm looking it up. In 2014 alone, he released 347 albums.
What? So almost every day, but he took a few breaks.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so he's most famous for a song called "You." Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack.
He's right there.
And it's spelled YOU apostrophe LL. Yule. Cowards don't even smoke crack. He basically
I'm listening to it right now.
Okay, he basically just turns on his webcam and just says words. He's a fucking meme. It's amazing. But his discography is so prolific that is also an inspiration, and I'm also going to YouTube. I'm going to listen to Y'all Cowards Don't Even Smoke Crack, and you can't stop me.
I really wish that Sufjan Stevens got a little farther in his 50 states plan. You know, is that?
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm very sorry. I don't know who that is.
Oh, he made an album called Michigan and then one called Illinois, and
he said that he was going to do one for each one of the 50 states.
Yeah,
but then after 2, he got bored.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I wasn't even close.
How do you pronounce it? I used to say Suf Jam, and that's wrong. It's Sufjan.
Sufjan. Yeah. Sufjan Stevens. Sufjan.
Childish Gambino says it in a song, and I was like, that can't be right. He says Sufjan, and I was like,
something like that. Yeah, it's a soft J. I know that much.
Yeah, Leon, how are you finding Y'all Cowards Don't Even Smoke Crack?
I could only listen to about 30 seconds of it, and I was done. I'm very sorry. For everyone who's like, I wonder if I should listen to it or not, it's basically, he goes, yeah. Whoa. It just keeps going. Like
it's nothing.
Unless there's like a bridge where it gets really up tempo, but I didn't go that far.
No, he just basically mumbles into his like 80s recording equipment, just like, y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. That's the song. Listen, I would say edited it in as a joke, but I don't want to subject people to it. It's that extreme.
Well, I would get content ID'd.
Would you? Do you think Viper has Google's ear?
It doesn't. It's automatic. He doesn't have to like manually do it.
I thought you had to opt into those bots.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, doesn't he have does he have a label, or is he just self? Is he himself?
Is he just a guy sitting in front of his computer? Is what you're asking?
Yeah.
Because I kind of get the impression that might be the case.
Yeah.
Leon.
What label do you think publishes 350 albums a year?
One that really wants to, stock up their stores. Wait, there are no stores.
There's no stores.
Nothing is physical.
God.
I was actually thinking about something related to that earlier today.
Smoking crack?
And it was related to rap. It was how the world has changed, and obviously, but the language that we used previously doesn't make sense in certain contexts. Like idioms, we say. Like there was a rap song, and I can't remember what one it was, but someone said something like, "My wallet's fat," and in my head, I'm like, "Do you have a lot of debit cards? Do you put your phone that has all the apps in which you use to pay for things in your wallet, and that is why it is fat?" So
that's a very millennial response to that brag.
Very, very recently, I made the decision to replace the saying "shake it like a Polaroid picture" with the phrase "shake it like a sugar packet."
I like to say "shake it like an Instagram filter." That even fits.
No, because you don't shake those, Austin.
But listen, songs don't have to make sense. Speaking of
songs,
but
if you shake it like a sugar packet, that makes sense, because it's like...
Too much, frankly.
Too much sense.
So, Johnny, you know this, and you're probably more equipped to talk about it, but The National has a new single.
Yes, they do.
The best title in the history of art.
It's pretty amazing, and it's a neat song, too. I like the song. Mm-hmm. Not my favorite National song, but there's a guitar solo in there, and I was like, oh... Okay.
It's novel.
But yeah, the new single is called "The System Only Dreams in Total Darkness," and I can't think of a more appropriate title for 2017.
Yeah, that would have really inspired me in my teen years. Now I love it, but it also it means something else to me that is not as what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I would have thought, like, yeah, man, it does. And now I'm just like, yeah, that's cool. That sounds good. I like the cut of that jib.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sounds pretty appropriate.
Yeah. It's a little depressing, but it's a good song, and that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple new LCD Sound System songs as well. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to put those in your ear holes.
Have not had the pleasure listening to Kendrick Lamar's "Damn." You guys on that?
No.
Very good.
Yeah, but LCD Sound System has two new tracks, one called "Call the Police" and another one called "American Dream." And they're pretty catchy. I mean, LCD Sound System is pretty good at, like, tapping, like, one sweet hook and then, like, letting that hook kind of reiterate over a whole song. So it pulls to that. It's like, yeah, cool, But I don't know. It's I'm not totally sold on it. They're good, but, like, they're not, like, dance yourself clean good. Good.
I do.
Likeable.
I felt like I heard Leon trying to talk a couple times there, but he sounds so quiet and far away, and I didn't want to step on him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, buddy. You're back.
Hi.
Do you guys want to do questions tonight?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. I have one here from Cyretha, who asks, Johnny, do you have any plans for Victoria Day? Austin and Leon, do you know what Victoria Day is? I do not.
Nope.
Is that real?
Yep.
I imagine it's about Queen Victoria.
Yep.
How is she these days?
Nailed
Dead.
it. Got it in context.
What is
So
it?
dead. So very, very dead.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What does it do?
It's a national holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Where we go, dang, that Queen Victoria, she sure did spread that empire and put a lot of people under the yoke of oppression, didn't they? And she did it with a cup of tea.
So it's a cheerful holiday.
It's a day off, so people are like,
Oh,
yeah!
Nice. Good enough.
Yeah. So that's this Monday, that the Victoria Day is coming up. And I do have plans, actually. Because, as our more frequent listeners are no doubt aware, this Sunday is the start of the new season of Twin Peaks, which I plan on watching the first at least 2 episodes of, because that's all that's airing. I don't know, because I know that Showtime is doing a thing where they're like, 1 episode's going up, and then you can watch the first 4 on the Showtime app, but in Canada, whenever an American company says, and then you can see it online, that means, and then you can't ever see it, because we don't get things like Hulu. And up until just like late last year, we didn't get Amazon Prime.
Oh.
And even so, like when you guys, do either of you watch Amazon Prime, Leon? Do you Amazon Prime?
No.
Yeah, I watch the Aaron Paul, Hugh Dancy show, The Path, or as I like to call them, Aaron Small and Huge Dancy.
I watched that through Hulu, actually.
Right. Okay. Do you guys know if like Amazon Prime? Do you get that right off the Amazon website? Like, do you go to Amazon.com and watch that?
Okay.
Actually, I had to watch a movie through Amazon.com. So yes, you do actually just go through. They don't let you download stuff.
Yeah. No, in
have to
Canada, you have to go to primevideo.ca.
Okay.
It doesn't happen on, because Amazon.ca is Amazon in Canada. So primevideo.ca is where you get like, and we didn't have Prime Video. We didn't have any of the original Amazon programming until last year because I don't know why. So I'm not sure whether or not the first 4 episodes of Twin Peaks are going to be available online on Sunday night for Canada. I get the feeling that digital distribution in Canada is being handled by a company called Crave TV, which is like a Canadian company that was like, let's be Canadian Netflix, but they don't have nearly as much money, or they don't want to put as much money into it as like Netflix does to do their thing, so the service is invariably worse, and also the selection probably not as impressive. So I don't want to spend another $10 a month just to watch the first 4 episodes of Twin Peaks, because I will get them. Yeah. But the first 2 episodes are airing on Sunday night, and I'm probably going to watch them at least 8 times.
Yeah, I got Amazon and Hulu confused. I watched 10 Cloverfield Lane on Amazon through the Amazon.com website, but...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we can't do that. I can't go to Amazon and watch things.
Oh, no.
I have to go to primevideo.ca or something like that to watch things, which is how I'm getting my American Gods right now. Because in Canada, there is no Stars, so that means that Amazon Prime Canada got the exclusive rights to air American Gods, so American Gods isn't on TV. I have to watch it through primevideo.ca, a subsidiary of Amazon.ca, a subsidiary of Amazon.com. So that's what I'm going to be doing on Victoria Day. It's just Twin Peaks, Twin Peaks, Twin Peaks, Twin Peaks in my eyeballs, drinking coffee, eating pie, Twin Peaks, Twin Peaks, Twin Peaks.
Is it a good trade-off to have a whole bad television situation, but you do get, like, Tim Hortons? Is that...
You know what? All right. Let's...
Okay.
You know what? Fuck Tim Hortons, okay?
Whoa!
Canadians like Tim Hortons, but it's not, like, magical the way that Americans who have been to Tim Hortons briefly think it is. I'm an American, and whenever I am in Canada, I make sure to go to Tim Hortons because it is wonderful for me to go to what is basically a fast food joint that gives me muffins instead of fries. Like, that's amazing to me. But for Canadians, it's like Dunkin' Donuts to them. It's like, okay. I mean, no. I guess I can go to Dunkin' Donuts.
The reason why I say fuck Tim Hortons, and like I really fucking mean this, okay, is in the first place, their coffee sucks shit. Their coffee's fucking terrible. Like, it's awful, okay? People who were like, oh, Tim Hortons coffee. No, fuck yourself, okay? All right, number 2, the reason why I say, and this is like the big reason why I say fuck Tim Hortons, is because I am old enough to remember when Tim Hortons did all of their baking in stores. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but like not that long ago, like maybe about 15 years or so or something like that, Tim Hortons completely redesigned their entire like infrastructure to the point where like basically all of their shit gets baked in one giant plant in Ontario now, and then they freeze them and then send them out to stores where it gets warmed up in store and then put on display as being, like, fresh. So, like, back in the 90s and shit like that, they baked all their donuts and all their fucking muffins on site. Like, you could tell when you were walking in the vicinity of a Tim Hortons, because you could just smell that baked good, like, oh, yes, okay, I need something now. But they don't fucking do that anymore. In this, like, ridiculous chase to be able to provide everybody with everything, like muffins and donuts, fucking, like, soups and sandwiches and chicken and steak and English muffins and shit like that, they've really scaled back on freshly providing shit, like on-premises baked goods. So, like, and that trade-off, I'm just like, that's when you go from being like, hey, you're a chain for a reason because you make a good product, to, okay, now you're a chain just because you're a fucking chain. So fuck you, Tim Hortons. You do a lot of charitable work for the communities, but your donuts and coffee are ass.
Okay. I mean, if I lived in Canada in the 90s and I noticed the difference between earlier 20th century Tim Hortons and 21st century Tim Hortons, then I might have feelings like that. But just as an American who is just used to shit, anything that is not completely shit, like a muffin or like a sandwich that won't kill me, is like pretty solid for me. So, I mean, I'm not trying to like minimize your pain here, just because we have it worse in America. That's bullshit. But just for me personally, when I go to Canada, that's like a highlight, because I know I won't be eating anything too gross for a while. Mm-hmm. It's nice for me.
Now, that having been said, like their sandwiches and soups and shit like that are not that bad. But this whole like this whole image they have of being like, oh, these are the best donuts and coffee. Their coffee is crappy, and their donuts are literally like baked across the fucking country. And then like since I think 2010 or some shit like that. Yeah, they get baked in a warehouse, and then they get frozen and shipped out, and they get heated up on site. So no. Because there are all these like awesome little like local donut shops and shit like that do all that shit like on premises, and it's great. But this whole idea that like, you know, fucking Tim Hortons, blah 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 blah, eat a dick. So yeah, Twin Peaks, and probably playing a lot of Elite Dangerous, because being alone in space right now is probably the best thing I could possibly do.
Yikes! It's a shame you don't use swear words in the titles, because fuck Tim Hortons would be really like attention grabbing thing for people to see in their feed.
It would. That would mess with the discoverability, and also lately the monetization. Like for example, in the episode Punching Nazis, monetization was temporarily on hold while it was under review as to whether or not this was acceptable. Because when you have a YouTube video that said Nazis in it, people might think that it's pro-Nazis. But I guess when it was reviewed and someone said, oh, they just want to punch Nazis.
No, I don't think they did. I think whatever poor Google employee was tasked with listening to our podcast probably noped out like 2 minutes into the garbage.
Okay, how about this? I curse Tim Hortons with my dying breath.
That's a lot. I mean, those are a lot of words.
Yeah, it's good though.
So, long story short, like, wake up sheeple, Tim Hortons is made of people.
That rhymed.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean to, but there it was. So. You want to do questions?
Yeah, more. I mean,
we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah. Tilda Adade asks, "What do you look for in a sci-fi book or show or movie?" Parentheses from a writer wanting to know her audience. So, what would catch your attention?
Oh, I don't know, because there's so many different types of sci-fi that are like so good.
Yeah.
there's practical sci-fi, like Isaac Asimov stuff where it's like I could see this happening in 200 years or some shit like that, where humans are like the only alien in the universe, and you spend like 8 pages explaining how space travel works. And then there's like Frank Herbert sci-fi that's like, I'm just gonna fucking dunk you right in the tank, man. If you don't know who the Bene Gesserit is, it's your fucking problem.
Yeah.
I have to be in a very specific mood for hard sci-fi. It's not something I do casually.
I like science fiction that basically uses a sort of like far out premise that we can't use now to explore like philosophical concepts. Like in Moon, for example, like we can't make people that well right now.
Spoilers.
But in Moon they can, so we get to think about what identity really means, and is the clone. Oh gosh, yeah, I'm just spoiling Moon.
Yeah. You said Moon.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I was trying to back off of it, and then my words got slurred because I feel bad if I spoiled Moon for anyone. But Moon's good, and it made me think about things, which is always good.
It's hard to know that from just like a trailer or something. Like I didn't know going into Moon that it would be as good as it was, and it's super good. But like what drew me to it for that was just like, oh, I like Sam Rockwell and Kevin Spacey. So I don't know if that's helpful because you can't write Sam Rockwell and Kevin Spacey into your sci-fi book.
You need to hire Sam Rockwell.
You do. I mean, you do.
On the cover of your book. He doesn't even have to be in it. You just need to hire him to take a picture of him. And then people will buy it. They'll be like, "Oh, he was in 7 Psychopaths," and then people will check it out.
I think like a strong premise, right, is really important because I've seen a lot of things about people in space. Like that doesn't do anything for me by itself. But like I was thinking about Octavia Butler's Bloodchild the other day. Have either of you read that?
No.
She's a pretty famous feminist African American science fiction author, and she wrote a bunch of stories which are basically slavery metaphors. And Bloodchild in particular is about I'm trying to describe it without using the phrase "mpreg." It's like it's about aliens who like used human men as like breeding. It's part of their life cycle basically, but it's not deadly like xenomorphs. But it's there's some gender stuff going on in there that like. When someone told me, I was like, oh, it's about aliens, but they're, like, symbiotic, and it's gross and feminist. And I was like, hell yeah. Like I'm in. So, like, if you have, like, a cool, never-before explored premise, that's more interesting to me than, like, there's lightsabers in spaceships.
Yeah. Thematic unification is a pretty important thing for me. Picking something like a weird bit of tech or something like that, or a certain like alien race or something like that, and using that obviously to explore more universal ideas is way more interesting than space wizards. Way more interesting.
I was waiting for Leon to jump in and defend space wizards.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with space wizards. I'm not like stepping on space wizards or anything like that. I'm just saying when I have a choice between one or the other, like space wizards, I'll kind of like push off to the side a little bit.
I feel like we're dancing around. I feel like we're very carefully tiptoeing around Star Trek versus Star Wars because of the like terrible comment section that will create. So
it's not even versus necessarily. It's just
I know, but people will. It doesn't matter how we phrase it.
It's true. If you don't start the fight, somebody will do it. Somebody will throw a chair. It's okay to like both.
Everyone does. Is that real? I never realized that was a thing until like really recently. I thought everyone liked both. They're both good. Who cares?
People aren't like that. I wish they were, but they're just not. Like,
okay.
I'm sorry. You know what? Even by saying we shouldn't talk about it, we are talking about it. It's just we shouldn't have.
It just feels like a contrived rivalry because everyone I know who grew up with them likes them, and it's not the problem isn't that like they're bad. It's just that they so dominate their niche that you can't really go up against them and win. You can't have I'm just going to be in a ship and explore because it's like everything you do will be compared to Star Trek. So you just need something else.
But I mean, Star Trek has been off its game for a while now. I mean, until today.
I saw the trailer. I can talk about it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But Leon doesn't watch trailers, so...
No, I did watch the trailer.
And Austin hates Star Trek. So I was just going to sit over here and leave that topic alone and not talk about it with anybody, so...
I don't hate it. It's just that a lot of it's not good. And a lot of it is good, but... yeah, I saw the trailer, and the only thought I had was, oh, look, the lady from The Walking Dead's in it. I like her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't tell much about it just from the brief visuals and non-story that they got into. Mm-hmm. Apparently, there will be Klingons, and they won't look like Klingons. That's all I know about.
That's because they're pre-virus Klingons, man.
Oh my god. No, they're literally not, because that took place during Enterprise, and this takes place after. This takes place after Enterprise, but
I thought the virus thing happened like for the original series. Was that Enterprise that happened during?
It takes place during Enterprise.
Oh yeah, you're right.
There was a whole double part episode or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that now. Okay.
So no, it's just bullshit.
Sorry, Enterprise is just a foggy mess for me.
No, that's fine. It should be. Okay.
I remember that Seth MacFarlane was in it, who also has a Star Trek-like show coming out that looks amusing.
I would be almost interested in it if it weren't starring Seth MacFarlane.
Yes, I realize that
he's not a big draw.
Fans.
Yeah. Are you okay?
I think the Orville looks funny. I think it looks funny. So I'm going to give that a watch.
I'm pleased that the actress who played Cassidy Yates in Deep Space Nine is in The Orville. But beyond that, that's as far as I go. You want to do another question? I feel like we haven't done too many. Okay. Sorry, fans people like us for some reason.
Are you okay? Are we just not going to talk about how Leon is like slowly withering away, and at the end of this, he's going to be a husk?
Leon, you often make me feel like I should apologize for myself, and that's not a healthy way to live, you know?
What? What did I do?
I said you often make me feel like I should just apologize for myself, and that's just not a healthy way to live.
I didn't mean to? What? Well, I don't know what's happening.
Well, my sad precious boys. Another question, I guess.
Yep. Yes, please.
Professor Jade, our doctorate of questions, wants to know, I don't know why my mouth had trouble with that, if you could visit another country for a week, which would you choose? I assume we could, probably. It would just not
that
be
is something
convenient.
that you can do.
Yeah. But schedule and monetary situation notwithstanding, let's assume. Or language would be the barrier, right? Because my first thought is like, oh, I want to see Japan, but like I would never be able to do anything. I'm so white. Help, please.
I would probably go to another country, like where like I know people, and then we could hang out. So like Canada to hang out with Johnny, or Northern Ireland to hang out with a couple of my friends, or England. I mean, I don't want to go to a country and like, oh, let me see the Arc de Triomphe. It's like, okay, cool. But I can be by myself in my own apartment.
Also, Google Images exists. You can see what it looks like.
Right. If I'm going somewhere, I want to have like a reason, and like, seeing my friends that I don't, get to see very much would be like a solid reason to go. And then they could show me their foreign things, and they would be more fun that way.
I worry about traveling in these times, though. I just, it's not.
Just wear a backpack. You just wear a backpack with a Canadian flag on it. There's that.
And just tell them that Tim Hortons isn't that great.
Yeah.
There you go. Boom. Canadian.
God, that's such a hot take. I'm sorry. No, it was frozen and then it was warmed up later.
It was a take that was hot way back in Ontario, and then they froze it, shipped it out here, and I unthawed it, and then it looks like a hot take.
Oh my!
Since you started on that kick, I've been trying to formulate a Wendy's joke because of their renewed social media presence, and I haven't been able to.
I think Wendy's owns Tim Hortons, actually.
Holy shit! How deep does this rabbit hole go? Because they're fresh. They're fresh, never frozen, and Tim Hortons is frozen. So what the fuck's up with that?
I'm just gonna look at their Wikipedia and find out immediately. Okay. You guys can.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Restaurant Brands International.
I mean, you guys.
Oh shit! They own Burger King, Tim Hortons, and Popeyes, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
There's like 3 companies. There's only 3 companies.
I told you. I've said this before.
Yeah. No, I know.
Although, Wendy's did own Tim Hortons for 11 years. They bought it in 1995 and they sold it in 2006. After which they sold it to Restaurant Brands International for $4.7 billion.
Do you ever think about how weird of a name Tim Hortons is? It's not like there's a Brett Favre's in America, right?
Well, what you are underestimating is how seriously people in Canada take hockey.
No, I'm not. I know. I'm just saying it's still weird. America loves football.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. Now I'm an idiot because there are definitely like
Brett Favre's.
There's something like that. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head who has one, but someone has a restaurant here. It's just not as big as Tim Hortons is.
There's also we have Steve Nash has a chain of gyms.
Okay, I didn't know that.
The basketball player, you know. Yeah, you can go to Steve Nash's gym. Not like, his gym, but it's like Steve Nash's gyms.
Yeah, Mike Ditka has a restaurant.
Is it called Ditka's?
Yeah, Ditka's restaurant. It's in Chicago. Oh, there's a bunch of them.
Whoa.
I'm a little confused about why Tim Hortons doesn't have an apostrophe.
Because, I don't know.
Is it not?
I mean, he was involved.
I know, but if I had a restaurant, it wouldn't be called Leon Thomas's, like they're plural. Like you don't go in there and buy various Tims.
Maybe when he founded it in the 60s, he knew ahead of time that search engine optimization isn't kind to apostrophes.
Yeah.
And he just was ahead of the game on that one.
Or maybe he just, got checked into the boards one too many times.
Aw, that's sad because that's a real thing.
I know. Oh, especially back when he was playing.
There's literally a part of the Wikipedia page that explains this.
Oh, shit.
The thing that I was just talking about. It was originally called Tim Horton Donuts. Like, normal. Like, that was fine. The name was later abbreviated to Tim Hortons with the apostrophe, and then later changed to Tim Hortons without the possessive apostrophe. It doesn't say why.
The removal of the apostrophe allowed the company to have one common sign image across Canada, I guess because of the different languages that do possess it differently.
Yeah, in Quebec that would not
French.
operate.
Oh, you damn
Yeah,
French.
you do like I'd be like Donuts Day Tim Horton, Del Tim Horton. I don't know how French do. I only know Spanish. But so you know what? I've changed my answer to the question. Where would we go? Canada, because I just want to check your guys' stuff out. I got to see what these muffins are like.
The muffins are okay. The muffins are pretty good.
I would kill both of you right now for a muffin.
Cool.
I'm really into muffins all of a sudden, just like very.
You don't have to do that. I live just down the street from a Tim Hortons.
It's too late, Johnny.
You're gonna die!
I feel like it's just an excuse to kill us.
There's nothing that can dissuade me from this dark deed. I'm on my way.
There's a Tim Hortons in Qatar.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Wait a minute. It does say that there are some. I've passed by some in America, but they're like so. They're not. There's not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Sad. Okay, I'm gonna stop now.
Okay.
One more question before we go.
Let me see. Neither of you guys have seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2 yet, have you?
Nah.
I have.
Oh, okay. Jade also wants to know our thoughts on it. I haven't seen it yet.
I liked it. Next, we don't have to spend too much time on it. It was good. You know what?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
My thumb is pretty much in the middle. Let me wait a minute. Here's the way I will definitively know whether or not I liked Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Mm-hmm. Did I put like on it on Letterboxd.com?
Okay. While you check that, Bright Marsh wants to know, Johnny, do you have any cooking experience with durians?
Oh, God, no, I'm afraid to touch durians.
Okay. This was very specifically targeted towards you because I guess our listenership knows that me and Leon would never.
I mean, don't think that I haven't been tempted before. There's a grocery store down the way a little bit that does bring them in seasonally. And I mean, curiosity. I'm a curious person, especially when it comes to food. So I do kind of like look at it and sort of think, ooh, like maybe one of these days. But then I think about like if the smell is truly as inhabiting as it reputedly is, just being like, if it's that bad, could I stand for my apartment to smell like that for like, a week?
Do you have like an outdoor like?
I have a small patio, but even still, that would be like, like if you open it up and you take one bite and discover that you're one of those people that thinks it's just intolerable, then you have most of a durian on your balcony.
No, it goes over.
You have to somehow maneuver into the garbage in your basement.
Surprise, Vancouver! I have a present for you. Whoop, over the balcony.
So, I mean, that's something that I think I would rather try in a controlled atmosphere, as opposed to home. Furthermore, I didn't even know that people cooked with it. That's, wow. So cooking experience with durian? Definitely not. Definitely not. I've never, no. I'm not sure. I'm quite, maybe someday, but not yet.
All right. Gotta build up to it. It turns out I did like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 because Letterboxd said so, and it's always right. So, and as I recall, I was hesitant about whether or not I would click like, because
what a sigh.
It has second act problems, which is, I guess, is like a very common complaint. It drags a lot in the middle, and I don't know. I wasn't feeling it until like they had like the big battle at the end where they tried to make this not fun movie fun, and I was very impressed with the every movie that Marvel does where they use de-aging technology, it gets a little better. Like you can watch Ant-Man, and you'd be like, oh, that almost looks like a totally real Michael Douglas from a long time ago, except a little bit like a puppet. And then you watch Civil War, and you're like, that is almost totally Robert Downey Jr. when he was younger, but he's not moving at all, so I guess that's pretty easy to do. And then this one was Kurt Russell when he was younger. He's moving around, and he looks like Kurt Russell, like before, like younger than he was in Big Trouble in Little China. So very 70s Kurt Russell. And I was like, wow, this is witchcraft. So good job on that, I guess. But I would like only mildly recommend it. Like I'm not feeling, Marvel movies in general these days. They're kind of samey. Even the good ones. So that's it. Anything you guys want to say before we go?
If you find a dead body, do the right thing.
I don't know what's the right thing anymore. I guess it's whatever the rules let me do, whatever they let me get away with, which is basically anything. Yeah.
These are scary times.
It's going to be great for me. I'm going to be honest. It's going to be pretty good for me.
It's great. You want to end on that creepy note?
No, I'm just saying I'm just going to have access to like a lot of power and no consequences. It's going to be good.
All right. All right. Let's all blame Austin. And leave.